guys, it's John from the Productive Garden again, and I'm here with another update from the balcony. Now, it's been a little while since I've done an update from the balcony, and what I've sort of decided is, before I was naming like how many weeks the balcony had been going for, now I'll just date when I've done the update for the balcony. I guess the weeks is relevant in a way, but the relevance sort of goes to the date that I've done it as well. So there's not a lot that's happened in the balcony. Last time I did an update, I asked for some suggestions of what I could grow during my winter season. In the Northern Hemisphere, they're about to start on their summer season. In the Southern Hemisphere, in Australia here, we're about to start on our winter season. And I'll show you what's going on here and have a talk about what I'm going to be doing to continue production during the winter. So let's have a look. Alright, so here's the herbs that I've got here. Now you can see the oregano, and the thyme has really taken off, although these things are starting to harden off a bit with the cooler weather coming on. The parsley is doing really well, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the way that's done. I don't think any coriander sprouted in here. No, it hasn't. So we've got parsley. And just brushing my hands across the top of it, you can get the smell out of it. It smells magnificent. And the rosemary is doing pretty well also. I probably need to cut back the thyme and oregano a bit from the rosemary just to give it some room to grow, but it is still doing quite well with some new growths coming on. Okay, this is the pot where the cherry tomatoes was. I've just been harvesting the last of the basil so I don't waste it. Now I pulled the tomatoes out of here. I got the rest of the tomatoes off and pulled them out. They'd pretty much died off. It's sort of towards the end of tomato season here, with the weather getting much colder, so I didn't think it was worth having them in anymore. The blueberries won't be doing much. They'll be going pretty dormant soon, so as we come into the colder weather they won't do much at all. This chilli plant, I've just pulled a whole heap of chilies off it, and I'll show you what I've just done. I've just pulled some chilies and I've pulled some cucumbers off the cucumber as well, pulled some carrots out. Got this grass that's come up in the, I think it's come from the alpaca poo that I've mixed in with here. I've just been pulling little bits out. Don't want to throw out too much alpaca poo and just throwing it out as I go. So I'm not too worried. Like, I actually prefer the grass to grow a bit than try to pull it out when it's really small. It's just easier to grab. But I think the important thing with this sort of thing is to get it all out before it goes to seed. And I'll definitely do that. So my plans with this is it's still producing a few chilies, so I'll let it go for a while. You can see there's some chilies here that are still growing. Got some flowers here as well. There's a few small chilies you can see up here. If I can show you, there's a small chili starting to form. So I'll continue to look after this plant, let it come to the end of its sort of life. There's still a few more chilies coming on it. There's a few more flower buds which I can't actually find at the moment, which are about to bloom. So yeah, I'll let that go. Then once that's finished, then I'll be getting this asparagus plant. The pot it's in is probably too shallow for it, but it was only a seedling when I got it. It's time to replant it up to this much bigger pot. So that's my plan for that. This basil here, I'm going to let this basil go to flower and collect the seeds off it. So I'll probably just let it go to flower. It's starting to go to flower now. See the flower head on there. So I'll let that go to flower. I'll collect the seeds off it and keep them for next year. So hopefully we should have some more opal basil next year. That's done for something that's struggled. It's really come on in the last couple of months. So hopefully if we get some seed, it'll be something that does all right. Hopefully this basil here has done all right, and I've got a fair bit off these that were with the cherry tomatoes. So I'll let this go to flower as well and hopefully get some seed off that also. Okay, this capsicum, bell pepper, whatever you want to call it, hasn't done real well, and I've just pulled that off anyway. I don't think it was going to go anywhere. It's getting too cold now. These are about to go. I'll be replacing them with either broccoli or cauliflower. Same with this eggplant here. So yeah, it's about to go. Depends on that, it'll stay there. Same with the beans as well. I was going to put a cover over it, but I didn't get around to it. So yeah, it's time for them to go. It's about the end of their time anyway. Okay, the galangal. Pretty soon, in the next few months, we're going to start getting frosts, so it's probably getting close to time to pull it up. It hasn't really grown that much, so I'm going to make a decision whether I pull it up or whether I put it in a greenhouse and see how it goes in a greenhouse. So that's what I've got to think of. Same with the chili as well. You see, it was a bit of a late thing. Had one chili sprout and then put another one in. So that's the second one. It hasn't really had a lot of time to grow well. So I'm thinking maybe these two just need a bit of a greenhouse just to protect them from the cold weather, and hopefully keep them growing throughout winter, and maybe they'll do much better. The goji berry is doing pretty well, got a whole lot of new growth along this branch here where I cut it back. So you can see here, well, you can't really see where I've pinched the end off. Where did I pinch the end off? There is where I've pinched the end off. It's had a new growth come up here, and all new growths come up. This one here, oops, this long one, I've pinched the end off that as well, and it's had some growths come off. It's also had some growth come further down, so maybe what I need to do is go and cut this off now and encourage it, get it in shot, cut it off here and encourage this growth some more, and encourage it to keep sprouting further down, just to make it a little bit more compact. I think it'll do much better if it's a bit compact. You can see this coriander that's self-seeded in here. It's also self-seeded in the galangal as well. The asparagus, I've already talked about what I'm going to do with that, repotting it up into that bigger black pot. Not much to say about the lime. It's just being lime. It's going to be pretty dormant over winter, and then hopefully next spring we'll get a whole heap of flowers on that and some fruit from it. I've heard that lime can take a little while to actually bear some fruit. They'll tend to drop their fruit for the first few years. I think I've only had this in a pot for 1 year now from when I got it from the nursery. So hopefully next year we'll get some fruit off it. That'll be good. Alright, this eggplant here has actually produced a few eggplant. It's got a few flowers on it. I can't see those flowers doing anything much at all, so it's time for this eggplant to go as well. And put something in there. Likewise, this cucumber, once the frost comes, trying to think what that is, once the frost comes, then it'll be time for these to go. So there's still a few small fruit on there. Maybe I'll leave them go to develop for a week or two and see how they go, but I don't really think that they'll do much. It's funny, like these cucumbers struggled for such a long time, and then they had a late run and did really well. I think it's only really the one plant that took off too, yeah, it's just the one plant that took off. So I don't know what their problem was. Well, I do have a good idea. It's probably just the soil. Like I said before, I started with cheap, poor quality soil. The carrots have done really well. I just pulled a few of those carrots out. I was away last week and it was some pretty hot weather. Unfortunately, this lettuce has bolted. So, lettuce in pots, I haven't had a good run with it. The lettuce I had in before bolted pretty quick. I think the key with lettuce in pots is to make sure you keep it well and truly watered. If they get a chance to dry out, then they'll just bolt to seed really quickly. The chives are doing well. They come back nicely after the aphids attacked them earlier on, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with how they're going now. It's just going to be a matter of keeping them going like that. I will probably improve their soil soon. I'll give them probably a top dressing of worm castings and maybe a little bit of alpaca poo as well that I've got in the compost bin. Okay, this capsicum here, this came good. It's produced one capsicum, rather small as it is now. I don't think it'll get much bigger with the cooler weather coming on. So I'll probably cut that up and probably just eat it how it is. Alright, and you'll probably remember too, in one of my previous updates, I put some coriander seed into this other pot that I've had the lettuce in, and it's actually sprouted. So this will grow fine throughout winter, and you'll probably find that given the looking after that it'll need, which isn't a whole lot for coriander really, just a bit of watering, that it'll take off really well. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's all I did was just throw them in there. I didn't do anything special, didn't plant them a certain depth or anything like that. I just threw them in there and wished them the best. So yeah, there's been a few there that have just sprouted, so they should do pretty well. And the strawberry, well, that's not going to do much now. these fruit didn't really come to anything at all. I think it's just too cold for them down here now. There's a couple of fruit on here, but I don't think anything will come off them. It's just too cold for them here. And I have tried strawberries in a greenhouse before, but they didn't seem to make any difference to them. So I don't know if it's worth trying that with them this time. As you can see here, the chilies that I've pulled off that plant, I've done about, I think that's the third lot of chilies of about that much I've pulled off that plant. So it's been pretty prolific. I should probably save some seed from it and get it growing again next year. And it's done pretty well. Here's some cucumbers. I pulled off the cucumber. Makes about 8 or 9 all up. And there's 2 eggplants that I've pulled off the one eggplant that's done all right. So that makes about 4 eggplants that I've got off it. So hasn't done too bad. And here's some carrots I've just pulled out. Now this one here's a big one. It's good. It hasn't split or anything. That's sort of maybe not as rough as that, but that's sort of the size that I expected them to be. You can see this one here has hit the bottom of the container and started growing at an angle. That's no big deal. And of course you always get a few smaller ones. This one here looks really big, but when you turn it over, it's split open. So that's normally because it's been allowed to dry out, and it probably did dry out last week when I was away. And maybe that's why it's split. But I'm thinking, like, just by the flesh that's here, I can sort of put my nail in there pretty easily, so I can probably salvage that, and it'll probably do all right. So just have to make sure I clean all the dirt out of it, and I think it'll be just fine. Alright, so that's it from the balcony garden for now. Just a bit of a late harvest from the summer crops, and it's well and truly time to get the winter crops in. So over the next week or so I'll be getting some Brussels sprouts, cucumber, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. What else will I be putting in there? I've just got to try and remember. Anyway, I'll go through the suggestions that people have made me, but there'll definitely be broccoli, cauliflower. I might try some cabbage, Brussels sprouts. I've never had a lot of luck with Brussels sprouts in the garden. I just don't seem to be able to get the sprouts to form very well. Usually the sprouts don't form, or they start to form and the aphids just give them a smashing. So I might give them a go anyway and see how they go, and I'll think of a few other things that I can put in there and go through the suggestions that people have given me. Anyway, I'll be working on that over the next week or so and give you an update pretty soon. Okay, anyway, until next time, happy productive gardening. Bye. Alright, just one thing to mention before you go is I'm pretty close to getting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I reckon is pretty good. I would not have thought so many people would be interested in seeing what I'm doing in my garden, and I'd be interested in seeing the little things that I'm trying and that sort of thing. But I'm pretty happy about that. I think I've got about 972 at the making of this video. Might be 971. I can't exactly remember. But what I'm going to be doing as a bit of a thank you is once I reach 1,000 subscribers, whether that happens this week or next week or in 4 weeks' time or whatever, I'll be doing a bit of a giveaway. I'll mention more details when that time comes along. So keep looking at my videos. You'll see it when it comes around that I've got 1,000 subscribers. I'll mention more details of how you can be included in the giveaway. Anyway, thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. See you next time. Bye.